my name is Lou and I'm with Lou's Model Boats. Now let's get into what it takes to make 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of these sets of these, whatever you want to build. Okay, the first thing we need is a 3D printer, and I use PLA to make my mechanical parts like this. I do a lot of printing in ABS, but I find that the parts seem to work better in PLA. All the parts are designed so that when they're on the printer bed, they don't need any support. So turn off your supports and you have minimal cleaning up to do. Use 100% infill for strength. Once you have your 3D printer or a friend's 3D printer, you download the files and you print them out. Then you have the obvious cleanup that you normally have with any parts that come off of an FDM printer. You might have to clean up some edges, you might have to clean around some holes, and so on. You might have, and then possibility of using sandpaper or sanding sticks, and maybe some sort of a clean out tool, especially around inside where the recesses are for the hex, and for where underneath here there is a counterbore with a through hole that you have to put a screw in, like so. And then I have a little cover that goes over it. You don't have to do that, but it's optional. And around that counterbore, there are little notches on the bottom of the counterbore, which you have to clean out. And that's for when you cement the screws in place, that it prevents them from turning. We need some screws. I've got an M4 by 16 millimeter, and those fit in most of the parts. And the M4 by 20 millimeter is a little bit longer because it has to go through the knob. And you'll need 3 nuts for each jaw set. One here, and one here. Also, what you'll need is some Superglue gel type. Don't use the liquid, use the gel. I also use JB Weld. You can also use JB Quick, which actually helps you work faster. And if you want to put pads on the end of your pieces, then you'll need some adhesive padding. This is 1/16 of an inch thick. Got it on Amazon. Tools. As we started out with the hobby knife, a cleaning tool, sandpaper, Phillips screwdriver, wire brush, a file, and a drill. So what you wind up doing is, first, the parts that have the hex in it, you'll need to clean down around the hex and make sure that nut will fit in there. It fits in a little snug, and that's good. And once you put the nut ready to go in, and once you have the nut ready to go in, you'll take a little bit of the Superglue gel and you'll squirt it a little bit in the corners, not too much, and careful not to get it on the threads. Then we push the nut in and let it dry, or you can put a screw in and pull it down, let it dry, and then take the screw right back out in case any Superglue got on the threads. As for the screw, you will find that this part, as I said, has a counterbore in it. You take a file with the screw, hold it down good with a pair of pliers, vice grips, and you're going to file some flats on the screw, probably 3 or 4, or you could use a grinder if you wanted to go a little faster. Then you'll take that screw, mix up your JB Weld, and take the JB Weld and apply it to about the first 3 or 4 threads and underneath the head of the screw, quite liberally, so you have a glob built up. Take that, put it down through the counterbore, and you can take a screwdriver and push it down and turn it as you go, because that hole is fairly tight, deliberately. And we want to let that cure. Then we can take that and then we can sand that off. And if you want, you can either leave it as is, or I've got little covers that you can, again, use the Superglue gel and center that on there so that the finish looks like that. One thing you need to do when take these parts out of the 3D printer is clean out this slot. Sometimes they build up a little bit. So the hacksaw blade is about the right thickness, and just work your way down all the way to the bottom to where the slot is on the printed part. And just saw it back and forth, removing any material until I have 3. The rods can be aluminum, copper, steel, solid, tubing, wood, whatever you'd like. I used aluminum, I happen to have it. It's nice and light. What we finish up with is this set of bar clamps that is very usable. This works well for you, as it seems to be working for me, and I've enjoyed doing the design, taking the challenge, and having something that's quite usable for the model builder.